Okay, welcome. Happy Monday. Welcome everybody to our Team Sweaty Lovely Life team call. Oh my gosh, I said it right. I always get that tongue twisted. I am so pumped for our call tonight. So we have an awesome guest speaker. We have Joan here with us, but really quickly, I want to go through some quick recognition. So I'll share my screen and here we go. All right, so we are a little over halfway in the month. We have really awesome. We have a lot of names on the board right now, which makes me really excited. Lots of new coaches, lots of new names. We have changed a total of 20 lives so far this month. Our life changer of the week is Rachel for freaking crushing her business right out the gate. She is a brand new coach. She's almost at Success Club and she is just running with it. So I'm really proud of her. And I see a lot of other new names on here, like Amber, and we have Alex, and we have, I can't even see the bottom of this board here, Kelsey. So I'm really proud of you guys. I know we are going to just keep cruising along here and changing a whole ton more lives here in the next 10 days. So I'm really excited about that. And then I want to go ahead and introduce Joan here. So the thing about Joan is that I actually saw her guest speak on a call. Can you guys see this graphic here? Can you see it? Okay. I actually heard her guest speak on Ashley Feldyson's call. And right around that time, I had just finished the book Universe Has Your Back, which was a game changer. And I heard Joan speak on this call, and she freaking blew me away, and she referenced this book. And I thought it was just so perfect. Like what, and like, again, just a sign from the universe that I finished this book and I listened to this call. And I love her story, and she has so many like amazing takeaways, and I love her mindset and in her approach to this business, how she worked this business, grew this business while working full time, where she's taking it and where she's at and who she is as a person. So I'm really excited for us to hear from her and learn from her. So I'm going to let her take it away. I'm going to stop my share and mute myself. So there you go, Joan.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I feel like it's been like a snowy Monday and people all have their kids home and vacation. So it says something to me when people are like willing to jump on a call on a day like today, when typically most people would just like check out of life and their business. So kudos to all of you guys for being on here. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you my story. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about like how I got started and then finish up with like some tips. I do have to jump off the call at 8:30, so I want to tell my story quickly and then answer questions for you guys if you have any. But basically, I feel like my story and my journey is like similar in ways to other people's, but it starts differently, and that's because my husband signed up to coach before I did. And I feel like most people, it's like, oh, my husband doesn't want me doing this, or like they have like the dude at home that's like, what are you doing? Or, all that stuff. And I was that dude. I literally was like, that's great. Good for you. I want no part of that whatsoever. It wasn't that I didn't think that multi-level marketing, I didn't think it was a scam. I didn't think it was a pyramid scheme. Like, I know people have those objections. And I was smart enough to know better than that. And I know what network marketing is. But for me, it was more like, I didn't want to come off salesy. I didn't want to hunt down my friends and family. I didn't feel like I was fit enough or in the right mindset. And at the time, I truly was not in the right mindset. And Brian had always been into fitness. So I just felt like, oh, this is like a perfect match for you. And so, but I want no part of it. And so he would be like on, calls, like team calls and stuff at night, or on a call with our coach, and, jumping on a call with our coach and like somebody else to like help him get signed up or something. And I would be in the living room on the couch watching like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something like that. And like being completely ticked off at him that he was like on a call. Like, how dare you be on a call at like 9:00 at night when you should be sitting here like doing nothing with your life like I am. And so that's truly how I felt about it. And I would be like irritated with him about it. And then what happened is like over time, you guys, I've always been an emotional eater. I grew up in a family where my dad was an alcoholic. My parents fought a lot. You know, when they were going through a divorce, it became like a really stressful time. I was the person who was like helping taking care of my sisters. I was helping taking care of my mom when she like wouldn't get out of bed for months after they got divorced and all of that stuff. And so like I would turn to like a control freak and like clean and be like super anal about everything around me and food. And that's how I numbed my feelings. And so right before I went into high school, I lost like a little bit of weight, but like I never, after that initial like real depression that I went through when my parents got divorced, got back to that place where like I had a healthy relationship with food. And so it was always a struggle. And through college, it was a struggle. And of course, then you add on drinking and like legitimately, like I went out every night in college. Like there were no nights off. It was like Monday fun day, like Tuesday booze day, like when, you know, hump day. And then it was like Thirsty Thursday, it's Friday, like Saturday, like again, it just went on and on and on. And it wasn't like I would just like have a couple cocktails and it wasn't just like vodka. It was like I was drinking, right? I was smoking cigarettes. Like I ate like shit. Like I literally was a fat kid. And so I graduated college and I literally was like, okay, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes anymore. I'm not going to do any of that craziness. And then I met Ryan and he was like legitimately like, I won't date you if you're smoking cigarettes. So that left real quick. Mind you, this was like 15 years ago, you guys. So my only vice left was food, right? And so like, again, like anytime I would get into that like depression or that state, I would start eating again. And in 2009, my dad actually took his own life. And so I went into the biggest depression that I've ever been in. Shortly after that, my grandmother went into the hospital. She was in the ICU. And she was in the ICU for 8 months straight. Like literally every day would be a battle with like the doctors about whether she was going to survive or not, or she needed this next surgery or not, or, you know, whatever was going to happen. And they kept telling me my grandmother was going to die. And I just kept saying to them, you're absolutely wrong. She can't die because my dad just died. Like, that's just universal law. Like, she wouldn't do this to me. Like, it can't happen, right? And then I was laid off from my job. So this all happened like boom, boom, boom. And so as you can tell from my past, I turned to food. And it took me a really long time to realize that I had let myself go. Like Ryan and I got married in 2010. So that was after all of this. I was still laid off at the time, still hadn't found a job yet. And I turned to Turbo Fire and I had seen it on an infomercial and I was just like, let's try this. But I wasn't part of any groups. I didn't have a coach. Ryan wasn't coaching at this time yet. And I couldn't stick to it. And I just would start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. Like even like the motivation of you're going to be walking down an aisle and have pictures taken that are going to last the rest of your life was not enough for me to kind of like kick that habit. And so I just kind of went on with, you know what, this is just where you're at. You're like 180 pounds and like, this is where you're going to be and this is where you're going to live. And that's just who you are and whatever, be happy with it. And so for the next few years of my life, I literally just was like pretending. Like I was walking through life as if I was like happy. I got a new job. We got a dog. Like things were good. I had many things in my life that I should be grateful for. But like I still was just never back to me. And it wasn't until Ryan had actually signed up to be a coach and I said I would never coach. This was like 2013 that he signed up to be a coach. That I actually stepped on the scale and I realized that I was 197 pounds. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 200 pounds. Like, how did that happen? I'm 5'7". Like, this is not what I'm supposed to be. Like, it's not like I'm working out and lifting weights. Like, guys, this is fat, right? So like, I saw online a few people were doing Insanity on Facebook, a couple of my friends, and they kept talking about it and they would show up every day and they would post about it on their social and they would talk about how hard the workouts were. It was almost like bragging about how like crazy this workout was. And so I messaged them and I was like, what are you doing? And is that something I can do? And they were like, dude, if you do this program and you stick to it to a T, you will get the best results of your life. And I was like, yeah, but can I do it? And they're like, absolutely. Like, if you need to take a break, like take a breath, count to 10, get right back in there. But if you do this, you'll get the best results of your life. And so I came home and I told Ryan that day, and this was like July of 2013. And I was like, yo, I saw some friends, they're doing Insanity and I want to do it. And he was like, great, we're going to set you up as a coach. Come here, we're going to get you like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, slow your roll. I'm not signing up as a coach. And he was like, no, you don't have to coach. Like, don't worry about that. Like, we're just doing it so that, like, you know, you can get Shakeology and you've got the discount, like, yada, yada, yada. And he sat there over my shoulder and walked me through the website, and we signed me up and we got the program ordered. And I really remember sitting there and slamming the laptop shut and being like, are you happy? And I walked off. So fast forward, my stuff comes in the mail. I opened it up and I was like, all right, it's go time, right? And it was the middle of the summer, you guys. It was July. And I was like, whatever, I'm doing it. So I think it was like the end of July. I started in August. So August and September, I did it to a T. Literally every single day on that calendar I marked off. I didn't really even open up the nutrition plan or look at the nutrition plan, but I was drinking Shakeology every day. And I found that I started to make better choices naturally just because I was working so hard in these workouts that I was like, well, I'm not going to go F that all up after I just did that. So like I naturally was making better choices. Even if we went out to dinner, I would be like, oh, you know, I'm going to do like steak and veggies or like whatever, and maybe grab a few fries off Ryan's plate or something like that. But like I naturally reined it in. And in that time, I lost 27 inches off my body and I lost 30 pounds in 60 days. And so more so though, what I gained was confidence. I felt like I had gone through this emotional, mental, spiritual journey at the same time that I had this physical change. And if you've ever heard Tony Robbins talk, he talks about that. He talks about when you want to change your state of mind, there's like a couple ways to do it, but the best way to do it is physically start moving. It's physiology. Just change your physiology and it'll change your state. And then when you change your state and you start focusing on what you want and you take massive action, then you succeed. And so that was what happened. And people around me started to be like, what are you doing? Like, you seem so happy. You seem so energized. Like, it's not just that you lost weight. Like, of course we noticed that you lost weight and you look great, but like, it was more like the feeling and the energy that was coming off of me. And I know that with that program, like it's kind of aptly named, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And with insanity, I was pressing play over and over and over again, expecting different results, and I actually got them. So it is insanity. But you're like, you're pushing and you're coming to the point each workout where you're like, I don't know if I can anymore. Like, I don't think I can do this. But I had that thing in my head that just was running through it, like, take a break and jump right back in. And so I would. And there were times where I would cry in the middle of my workout. There were times where I was swearing at Sean. But literally, it also just reminds me of when Sean says, like, the work doesn't start until you're tired, right? The work doesn't start until you're tired. And the reason that he's saying that is because it's the baggage in our life that we need to let go of, not just the baggage on our body. And when we start to, like, push ourselves past that point, we literally start unlocking those parts in our body. Like, there's areas of your body that like are holding on to these emotions, like your muscles are, that fat in your body, like all of that is. And so I started dropping all of that, and it opened me up. And Ryan and I went to a wedding out in California, and we saw a lot of people that we hadn't seen in a while, and they were all saying the same sort of thing and recognizing like the difference in me and whatnot. And on the flight home, that's when I looked at Ryan and I said, okay, I see this. Like, this is different. This isn't just like peddling shampoo and makeup to people. This isn't like, oh, change your buying habits and buy your toilet paper online. This is like legit. Like, you change, you feel awesome. People notice that, they want in. And so I was like, I am willing to do this if I can help just one person feel as good as I do now. Like, if I can change one person's life from being like where I was at to where I am now, it is worth me putting myself outside of my comfort zone. And so I did. I got started. Our coach, Chris, got me on the phone, and he was like, you know, well, the first thing you should do is post your before and after photo. And I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, no. And he was like, well, didn't you just tell me you would do anything it took to be successful? And I was like, well, shit, like using my own words against me. And so I was like, yeah. And I had to get over that. I had to get over that hump of that worry of like, oh my God, my grandparents' friends are on here and my grandparents are on here. And like, you know, my friends from high school and college and my coworkers, like all of these people are on social media and they're going to see this. And I had to get out of my own way so that I could help somebody else. And when I posted that post, I had almost 200 likes on it. I had like 60 people in my first challenge group. I made $1,200 my first month of coaching. And for me, that's when I was like, okay, like what could I do? Like, this just paid for my rent and my phone. Like, and all I'm doing is helping other people, holding myself more accountable and having fun in these groups. Like, literally, like, are you kidding? I went to school for years, you know, got a marketing degree, was working in social media 50 hours a week, and I was like making $45,000 a year. And I was like, this is bull. Like, this is what my life is. Like, I'm supposed to sit at this desk and make like butt kiss and have like 3 weeks vacation a year. Woohoo! Like, life is awesome. So when I saw that this had that kind of like potential to it, I went all in. And so I changed a lot of my habits, you guys. I stopped like going to bed at 10 p.m. I stopped watching TV from the second I got home from work until I passed out on the couch at 10 p.m. Like, I instead would wake up, I would send out messages to people, I would put up a social media post, I would listen to personal development on my way to work while drinking my shake. My lunch breaks, instead of messing around with my coworkers for an hour, I would sit at my desk and get stuff done. Then I would make sure I always had a post up before I left work. I'd come home, I'd do my workout, I would make dinner, and Ryan and I would eat it, and then I would work my business. And I would work my business from probably about 8 o'clock at night until midnight or later. So I sacrificed sleep, I sacrificed TV, I sacrificed playtime that I used to have. Like, I would say no to happy hours because I was like, nope, I've got a bigger mission of things to do. I said no to going up to Lake Sugarloaf, the ski mountain, for the weekend because I was like, nope, our Wi-Fi sucks up there. And I was like, and I'm not going to be able to get shit done. And I say I sacrificed those things, you guys, but it was not a sacrifice. Like, I had Melanie Mitchell on my call the other day, and she said, I put this post up and it said, delay instant gratification for long-term success. And that is exactly what I did. I was delaying that instant gratification of, I'm tired, I'm just going to take a nap right now. And instead putting in time jumping on a call with one of my coaches. And in doing so, I was able to leave my job in 6 months. I matched my salary in 6 months, left my job, and went full-time in this business. Now, mind you, I'm in a dead spot because Ryan never thought I would coach ever. And so he put me on his inside leg, and he was just putting me there as a placeholder in case he needed to build me or something like that. But what happened was Ryan kind of stepped away and stopped building, because when he signed up to be a coach, he thought he was going to do it. And then he got a job and he started in sales and he was doing all these things. And so he wasn't coaching anymore. And so for me, I was in a dead spot. And then I built so quickly that when Ryan came back and wanted to start coaching again, it would be stupid for him to put anybody underneath my leg, because it doesn't make any money for us. Like, he needs to put somebody on the complete opposite side for me. I flipped his coach's legs so they didn't build under me, and then flipped it again so he couldn't even build in that second business center and was building somewhere else. So what that means, you guys, is that you can be successful no matter where you're placed in this business. Not one person in my downline was placed there by somebody that I didn't place there, or that like somebody had placed there but didn't place there. So that's how I'm saying you can make a 6-figure income within 2 years with no help from anyone above you. So that's kind of what I did in terms of like of changing my schedule up and doing those sorts of things. But I also just wanted to mention that like those sacrifices in the long run got me out of that job, yes. But like it was more so like I almost became addicted, because I feel like most people have it completely backwards. They think that you're supposed to get all this motivation first and then start doing stuff. And it actually works in reverse. You have to start taking action in order to gain momentum, which gives you the motivation to continue. Like when you start reaching out to people and you start getting those like, you know, yes, I'm interested and things like that, like you get like, oh my God, yay, right? And like your energy comes up here. And so the more you do it, the more you have. And then you're building that like snowball cycle for yourself where you're going to get more yeses and you're going to get more interested and you're going to get more people pulling the trigger each day. And that momentum like became like addictive to me. I was like, I wonder how many people I can sign today. Like it became like a game for me to see how fast I could grow this. And within my very first year of coaching, I went 6-star elite. So from the day I started until the end of that year, so it was a full year, I went 6-star elite in my business. And actually, I'm doing Katie Schulte's call later tonight, and she did the same thing. So that's 2 of us that did that, which means if we can, you can. And all it took was doing what our coach told us to do, being proof the product works, and showing up and taking action times 10 every single day. You do not have to be special to be good at this business. In fact, the more authentically you can be, the better. When you show up on social media and you're pretending that your life is like all rainbows and butterflies and that like you just love every workout that you do and like your, life is just super easy for you, that is not relatable. But when you're showing up and you're turning like your mess into your message and you're saying, guess what? Like my kids were all over to me tonight. I didn't think I was going to have time to work out. I had to get them in the tub. I had to get them down. And then I was so drained and all I wanted to do was sit there and have like a glass of wine. But instead I pressed play and now I feel like this. That's something that somebody can relate to. If you're talking about the money that you earned in this business, and you guys, I will tell you, talk about the money that you earn in this business because that is how you find building coaches. But even if it's $50 that you made in a week, guys, to you, that might not be a lot. To somebody else, that could mean that they can get groceries. To somebody else, that means that they can fill their gas tank. To somebody else, that means that they can have like a little date night out with their, boyfriend, girlfriend, and like not have to worry about it. So those little things are a big deal. And I started talking about them all the time in a way where I wasn't just saying like, I made money. I was saying what I was using it for. Or I would multiply it up and be like, yes, it's only $50 this week, but what if I made $50 the next 51 weeks after this? Like that would give me, and I'm bad at math, so I'm not going to do it off the top of my head right now, but that would give me this for a raise right now, right? Or I should have made it like such an easier number, but you get me. So like, that's what I would do. And I'd be like, how many of you are going to get that raise at your office right now? I would talk about the hustle because I wanted to attract people to my business that also wanted to work. And they didn't just think that they're just going to like sit back, look pretty and like play on Facebook and make money, because that's not how this works. It is hustle. It is work. It's not hard work. It's hard to stay consistent, but it's not hard work. And like, the more you do it, I think it just becomes ingrained as like a habit, almost like your workouts. Like I feel like everything in this business can be brought right back to your health and fitness. Like if you show up consistently in your workouts every single day and you eat right, you're going to see results. But if you just eat right for a week, you're not going to see anything. And it's the same with this business. I have so many of my coaches that'll be like, well, I reached out to like 50 people today. And I'm like, great, like continue that. And then it's like a month goes by and they're like still talking to those same like 2 people that said that they were interested out of those like 50. And I'm like, yeah, you have to show up, drink your shake, do your workout, eat right every single day. You have to show up, post to social, reach out to those who liked it, reach out to other people who didn't like it, and do those things every single day. And when you do, your life becomes really easy in this business. So it's not about being special. It's about taking action and massive action. My God.
Oh my God. So many truths. Okay. So I love what you said about what you were talking about taking the action, because I immediately thought of this John Maxwell quote I heard on a podcast about how successful people don't wait to feel good to take action. And the other people, unsuccessful people, wait to feel good to take action. So like I've been hearing this all like a ton lately, and especially I heard it at leadership, and I've been hearing it like, I don't know, everything I'm listening to, I keep hearing it, that inaction is actually what breeds fear. And I feel like that's exactly like everything that I have learned in this business this last year in building this business is the fact that every time that I came across something that I was afraid to do or whatever, only way that I was able to get through that is by taking action. And somewhere along the way, just showing up and taking that action every single day, you're exactly right. It becomes a discipline. It becomes a part of just what you do, just like your health and fitness. So I know it's like if you can just show up and just do the things over and over and over again, it's like you're going to get there, but people tend to just walk away before they like make that shift. What can you, there's a lot of people here, I know that they struggle with picking the right personal development. What would you say, like, for someone that's in that, like, beginning few months of, like, building their business and they're, like, trying to make that shift of that mindset? Like, what were some of your favorite, like, things you listened to or read?
Yeah, so I feel like everybody says it, but the compound effect and the slight edge are amazing. I'm reading a new book right now called Atomic Habits, which is kind of along the same line, and it's really great. But my biggest thing is that for me, it's not that people don't know what to do. It's more so that they're fearful of doing things and they're letting their fear hold them back from taking that action. And it's helping them to make those excuses of, well, you know, I didn't do it today, I'll just do more of it tomorrow. Or, and then tomorrow comes and they do the same thing, or, you know, whatever that might be. And I know for me, you know, you guys, anybody who tells you that they weren't fearful to reach out in this business is lying to you. Like, there's no person on this planet that started this business and was just like, I'm amazing at like reaching out and having conversations, and like this is like a blast talking to people I don't know. But like, I mean, some of it's obviously easier for some than others, but you know, for me, it was like talking to Gabby. I know you mentioned Gabby at the beginning of the call, but I had just said, you know, what do you do when you know what you have to offer somebody can change their life, and that you know it can because it has for you? Like, what do you do? And she said, you need to be unapologetic about the service behind this business, and that fear of like reaching out to people will go away. And it's true. So like before I sit down to reach out to people, I would sit down and I would be like, okay, I'm offering, you know, this person the ability to wake up in the morning and get dressed and love herself. Like, she's not going to worry about that muffin top anymore. She's not going to feel completely uncomfortable sitting in her desk all day at work. Like, I'm, you know, helping this person get out of debt. I'm helping this person be able to spend time with their kids. I'm helping this person be able to like feel better, you know, in front of their husband. I'm feeling, you know, like whatever it was, I would just kind of go off on like a tangent till I got to the point where I'm like, like I've got this thing to offer somebody, because like you truly do. You guys are sitting on like the best thing ever to change someone's life. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that's holding you back from doing it is worrying about what other people think of you. But all anyone else is thinking about is worrying about what everybody else is thinking about them. Like, they're not thinking about you. Like, and I think that it takes like, you know, I'm 37, and I think that it took until I was like 35 years old or so to realize that like everybody is just so worried about themselves and how they look. And if you read a lot of Gabrielle Bernstein, or you read The Power, or you read anything by Wayne Dyer or anything like that, you're going to also like realize that much of the things that people think or say or talk about is just their own mirroring. It's their own perspective. It's just them and like the way they're thinking about themselves. It has nothing to do with you. And so like as soon as you get to that point, then you're not afraid to take action. So while I say like slight edge, compound effect, like Atomic Habits, like those sorts of things are like, yeah, do those, like read those business type books. And I do think that they'll help you. I think it's more important to like do personal development that affects up here, and that like, and I just listed off a bunch of them, but Gabby Bernstein, pretty much anything by her. Wayne Dyer is amazing. Brene Brown is amazing. Who else do I like really truly love? I love The Power. Like, I love that book, The Power. And if you're not into like super hippy dippy stuff, because I'm kind of like that, then Entrepreneur Roller Coaster actually deals with a lot of like the mindset stuff, but also comes at it from like a business perspective. It's Rhonda Byrne who wrote The Power.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Joan? If you do, just unmute yourself. No? Well, I freaking appreciate the heck out of you taking the time to share with us. That was awesome. I can't agree with you more about the fact that, like, I think it's very much about your mindset. I think when you can conquer the fear and you can conquer the stuff, we all have our individual barriers that we come into this business with. I think when you can tackle that, I feel like the action is just going to come, and everything else, like you said, it's all figure outable. What we do is not hard. It's just the act of doing it that is the hardest part. All right. Well, I know you got to jump off, Joan, but I really, really appreciate it. And I thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. It was awesome.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome. Bye.
Have a good night.
Thanks.